Hello, Robo-Chief. I'm Professor Otto von Hairbrain, your Chief Scientific and Astrological Advisor. I'm here to teach you how to play Blastbots, a turn-based sci-fi strategy battle royale board game that is sure to unleash some fully leaded motor turmoil amongst you and 1 to 3 additional friends. We Blastbots are a group of autonomous robots with an overly literal self-destructive streak. For the last 5,000 years, we've been battling for control of our homeworld, the aptly named Chaos 5. You are the Robo-Chief, or leader of a Blastbot tribe. We have just detected a gigantic meteor, codenamed Interstellar Collision Unit 812, or ICU 812 for short, and it's on its way to destroy our planet. Now, you have 10 turns or less to, first, escape the planet by evacuating as many of your Blastbots as robot-ily possible before the meteor makes impact. And second, sabotage your opponent's escape efforts. It's all in your shiny metallic and maybe capable hands.
Impact in T-10.
Will you be able to survive?
8.
Get your robot in gear and let's boot up. There are 3 ways to win the game. You can win by being the first Robo-Chief to blast 15 of your rockets safely into space, ollie oxygen free. You can be the first player to blast 15 enemy rockets into space dust, hypersonic boom shakalaka laka laka. Or if any player's meteor totem reaches impact on the doomsday clock before a player achieves an escape or distraction victory, the player with the most points wins. Please enter your inertials. Points are awarded for a few different categories. You get 1 point for every rocket in your junkyard, 1 point for every rocket that made it to the atmosphere section, and 2 points for every rocket that made it to the space section of your launch grid. You can also be awarded points for certain achievements. The hair-brained bonus is awarded if you use 2 or more Chaos Magnet cards during Stage 3 of your turn to end the game early by moving any player's meteor totem to impact on the Doomsday Clock ahead of schedule. This bonus is worth 2 points. The Slip Space bonus is awarded if you have the most rockets in space at the end of the game. This bonus is worth 3 points. And finally, the Fly Swatter bonus is awarded to the player who destroyed the most rockets. This bonus is also worth 3 points. Once you tally up the points, the player with the most points wins. Let's start reviewing game boards, parts, pieces, and what they're used for. The resource grid is a shared board that is used to gather resource cards and keep track of how many turns are left in the game. The center of the resource grid works like betting in games like craps or roulette. You place your tokens on individual numbers on the resource grid, and when the number that you bet on is rolled, you get to draw 2 cards from the deck that corresponds to the resource section where your token is placed. Each player gets 5 resource tokens to place on the resource grid. The resource grid is divided into 3 sections. Each corresponds to a different deck type that you can draw cards from. Battle cards are pink with X's on their back and are used to attack enemy resources and defend against enemy attacks. Rocket cards are green with Y's on their backs and are used to move rockets from a player's factory to their launch pad. Discovery cards are blue with Z's on their back and are used to help players enhance the capabilities of battle and rocket cards, modify resource production, and help a player control game flow. Each player's meteor totem is placed on the outer ring of the resource grid. This section of the board is referred to as the Doomsday Clock, and it tracks the number of turns left until the meteor makes impact and the game ends. Each player starts the game with 10 turns. At the end of each turn, the rolling player will advance their meteor totem forward by 1 space clockwise. The most important thing to keep in mind for now is that as soon as any player's ICU 812 meteor totem reaches impact, the game ends right away, even if a player is in the middle of their turn. Each player gets their own launch grid. The launch grid is used to track your escape progress and how many of your opponent's rockets you have destroyed.
Position control, we have liftoff.
The left side of your launch grid is used to move your rockets towards space. On your turn, you get to move any rockets on your launch pad and atmosphere up by 1 section towards space, the final frontier. Once a rocket makes it to space, it can no longer be attacked by your opponents. The junkyard section in the bottom right corner of your launch grid is used to track how many enemy rockets you have destroyed. The dossier in the upper right-hand corner of your launch grid serves as a quick reference turn guide that guides you through each stage of your turn and the possible actions you can take. Now I will walk you through how to set up the game. To start the game, each player gets 25 rockets, 1 ICU-812 meteor totem, and 5 resource tokens, all the same color, blue, orange, purple, or red. Each player places 2 rockets on their launch pad and the remainder in their factory. Next, you place your meteor totem on the T-10 section of the doomsday clock. The next step requires players to roll the dice. The player with the highest roll will place all of their tokens first. The rest of the players will follow in a clockwise manner. When it's your turn, you can place your resource tokens on any of the card sections that you want, so long as they are placed within the proper tier band. You get 2 Tier 1 tokens. The Tier 1 or T1 tokens must be placed within the Tier 1 loop, meaning they will be placed on either a 6 or an 8. You get 2 Tier 2 tokens. The Tier 2 or T2 tokens must be placed within the Tier 2 loop, meaning they will be placed on either a 5 or a 9. Lastly, you get 1 Tier 3 token. Tier 3 or T3 tokens must be placed within the Tier 3 loop, meaning it will be placed on either a 4 or a 10. There is no limit as to how many tokens can be placed within a given section or on a certain number, so long as the token is placed within its designated tier. Once you place all of your tokens, you can draw your starting hand. Each player starts the game with 5 cards in their hand. You get to draw 1 card from any section where you have placed a token. For example, if you place 2 Tier 1 tokens on the Battle and Discovery sections, your 2 T2 tokens on the Discovery and Rocket sections, and your T3 token on the Rocket section, you get to draw 1 Battle card, 2 Discovery cards, and 2 Rocket cards. Now that you're all set up for success, or the extinction of your tribe, let's get turned. Blastbots wouldn't be a turn-based sci-fi strategy battle royale board game without turns. Each player's turn progresses through 5 sequential stages. Remember that each of these stages is conveniently summarized for you on your launch grid. Each player starts their turn by rolling the dice. There are 3 things that can happen depending on the number that is rolled. If a 7 is rolled, all players get to draw 2 total cards from any deck or decks they want. If a 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 or 10 is rolled, any player that has a token on the number that was rolled gets to draw 2 cards per token from the deck that matches the resource section where their token is placed. If a 2, 3, 11 or 12 is rolled, all players advance their meteor totem forward by 1 space clockwise on the doomsday clock, and every player gets to draw 1 new card from a deck of their choice, so long as they have at least 1 token currently placed on the deck's matching resource section. And each player also moves a rocket from their factory to their launch pad. During Stage 2, the player whose turn it is moves all rockets on their launch pad and atmosphere up by one section towards space. Next, the player moves one rocket from their factory to their launch pad. Stage 3 is called the action stage because it's when most of the action happens. At a basic level, during Stage 3 of their turn, a player can attack other players, build rockets, move their rockets towards space, move their tokens, or buy back their destroyed rockets from other players. The only thing other players can do during this stage is defend against any attacks. The rolling player may take up to 5 turn actions. Most actions revolve around playing resource cards, either a battle, discovery, or rocket card. If a card has multiple action options, you can choose one action per card. Each individual option is marked with a reticle. Unless the card specifically says otherwise, each time a player plays a card, that move constitutes one action. To attack another player's resources, you use battle cards. To use a battle card, you must show the defending player the card you are using to attack and identify the single, specific attack you want to use. Attack options are listed next to green reticles. Defenses are listed next to red reticles. When attacking, you also have to identify what your intended target is. For example, you could say, "I am going to use a mech to attack the rocket on your launch pad." Once an attack is announced, it cannot be changed. The targeted player can choose to either defend with their own battle card or decline to defend against the attack. In general, if the defending player has the same card that you are attacking with, they will be able to defend against your attack. If the defending player is able to defend against your attack, both you and the other player will discard the cards you used. If you destroy another player's rocket, you move the destroyed rocket onto a reticle in your junkyard. Once you are done taking actions, you will move on to the discard phase. At the end of your turn, you can only have 7 cards in your hand. For clarity, players are allowed to accumulate more than 7 cards when it is not their turn or before Stage 4 of their turn. But if it's your turn, you must discard any excess cards to conclude Stage 4 of your turn. As the last stage of your turn, you will advance your meteor totem 1 space clockwise on the doomsday clock. If your meteor lands on impact, the game immediately ends and points are tallied to determine the winner. Attack, defend, escape, win. It's all up to you now, Robo-Chief. It's Sonic Boom or Sonic Bust, certain doom or eat my space dust. And if you want to add some real meteorite to your tabletop experiences, check out our line of Exo-Roller Meteor Dice. Dice that have actual fragments of real meteorite within their core. From outer space to your tabletop. No extinction necessary. Visit exoroller.com for more details. Oh, zap!
End transmission.